My name is Carl Mackey, for those who don't know me. I'm the program liaison to the board. Before I do actually our welcoming announcement, we do have a special treat today, so I'd like to invite Sean to the stage.
Hello. Julie and I wrote this song this week. She wrote the words, I wrote the music. It's called When Our Neighbor is Free. We are only free when our neighbor is free. We are only free when our neighbor is free. What does your heart know when you dance? When you dance in the rain? What does your soul know? What does your soul know when with friends? We are only free when our neighbor is free. We are only free when our neighbor is free. Every one of us is made of love and a little sunshine. Each of us is made of stardust, a sparkle divine. We are only free when our neighbor is free. We are only free when our neighbor is free. Connected by breath and body and joy, pain and love, we'll find the answers. What's it all about? We'll find solutions, yeah, we're speaking out, oh. We are only free when our neighbor is free. We are only free when our neighbor is free.
We welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. We're a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience and the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you follow us on Facebook. To participate in Zoom and receive announcements about special events and our religious exploration classes, please sign up for our weekly email. There should be a link in the comments section of the Facebook page where you can sign up. I'd like to also draw your attention to recent announcements. For those in person, they are printed in your order of service. There are links in the UUC newsletter and weekly UU connections for those watching online today. I do have one special announcement, and then there's a few after me, but so you're just mentally prepared. There remain books and CDs donated from Rick Magyar's library in the front pew here. Larry Palace wants to share his library with the congregation. Feel free to take as many as you'd like. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you to all that are joining us in person and online today.
Good morning. My name is Dean Young, and I use he, they pronouns. And as a member of the membership committee, I want to extend a welcome to any of you here who are visiting or would like to learn more about the Unitarian Universalist Church. We're meeting this afternoon, right after the service at 11:30, right out and back. So 11:30, if you're interested in finding more about New to UU, we'll be welcoming you and sharing information and answering any questions you might have. Thank you.
Now Don Mowry is going to come forward and tell us about the brat stand. Da-da-da.
I could have swore Julie said she was going to make the announcement. So I'm a little unprepared. But I just want to remind people that we do have an annual fundraiser for the Social Responsibility Committee called the Brat Stand at Festival East, I think, off London Road. It's August 8th through the 10th. There's lots of shifts available. Look at UU Connections to sign up. It's a lot of fun, and usually we raise between $1,000 to $1,500 by doing it all 3 days. So we hate to cancel the day. And that money then goes to things like serving food at and staffing the Sojourner House, remodeling an apartment for Western Dairyland for their Housing First program, and many other worthy projects for social justice in the community. So please sign up. Thank you.
And lastly, all are invited today to a summer concert at Mark and Nicole's house. This is going to have music from our own Sean Copenhaver and also Chrissy Ammon, also other musicians in the congregation. Bring a lawn chair and enjoy drinks, appetizers, and there's going to be, I think, brats and barbecue. If you need the address or any information, let me know. It's from 5:30 to 8 p.m. and it's free and open to all. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp. I use she, her pronouns. Good morning. Welcome to our service today. We're going to celebrate both our individual freedom to explore, question, and believe, and also talk about what is that collective responsibility to work for a world where all can live in dignity and freedom. Our theme this morning is, what does freedom look like? And that can mean many things, I think, in today's society. Look forward to exploring that with music and also with our reflections. This morning, our opening words are from John M. Higgins. Welcome to this place of freedom and hope. This is a home where no revealed truths are promoted and no scripture or human being is accepted as infallible. This is a place for searching for truth and celebrating our individual and shared freedoms. We are believers. We believe in an intellectual and individual freedom. We believe in justice. We believe in compassion and concern for each other in the world. We believe in commitment to those ideals which make us caring and active in the struggles for human dignity and the freedom to be our true selves. We are Unitarian Universalist.
Please join me in the words we use for the lighting of our chalice found in your program. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage.
If you'll please rise in body or spirit. This morning we'll be singing number 151, I Wish I Knew How. It's in the gray hymnal. And I want you to sing out and sing loud. This is a great song. Thanks to Carl Lepp, who's accompanying us this morning. And it's I Wish I Knew How, number 151. be seated.
This morning, I'm thrilled to share a story for all ages that Reverend Julie suggested to me. I don't think she knew how impactful the reading would be. It's a story about Olympia Brown, who was the first ordained woman in any denomination in America. And I was so fortunate to be able to attend Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church in Racine for 14 years of my life. So I had a strong connection to Olympia Brown and her story. This story celebrates a very special female Unitarian minister who fought for the freedom to vote. A farm wagon bumped along through the Kansas prairie under a blazing August sun. Next to the wagon's driver sat a young woman in a long black dress. As her eyes looked to the great sweep of the prairie that spread out around her, Olympia Brown had plenty of time to gather her thoughts. It was a long way to the next town where folks would come to hear her speak. She had met the driver only the day before. The track they were traveling on wasn't really a road at all. They made their way through a sea of tall prairie grass, with no hint of a town or village ahead. But after a month of similar days, Olympia had faith that she would indeed reach a town where people would gather to hear her speak. Olympia Brown was not a complainer. She had a job to do, and she did it with strength and conviction and enormous goodwill. But her travels on the rugged prairies of Kansas were not all that she had expected. How had she come to be in this place? Olympia Brown was a minister at the Universalist Church in Weymouth Landing, Massachusetts. She had struggled long and hard to become an ordained minister, and in 1863, became the first American woman to be ordained as a minister with full denominational support. But in 1867, two leaders in the fight for women's rights, Lucy Stone and her husband Henry Blackwell, had persuaded Olympia to go to Kansas to campaign for an amendment to the Kansas Constitution, an amendment that would give women the freedom and right to vote. Another amendment on the ballot would give black men the freedom and right to vote. If both amendments passed, Kansas would be the first state in the nation to grant universal suffrage, the rights of all adult citizens, black, white, women, and men to vote. Olympia Brown already supported universal suffrage, the right to vote for all, passionately. She was a powerful speaker on that subject, and her congregation had generously given her a leave of absence for the Kansas campaign. Olympia's work in Kansas won her many friends among those who were committed to the struggle for women's rights. From then on, she divided her energies between her ministry and her work as a suffragist. In 1868, the 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution passed, and in 1870, it was ratified. This amendment gave the vote to black men, but women were still excluded. This was a terrible disappointment to Olympia Brown. Olympia Brown continued her work as a minister, now in the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. She married John Henry Willis in 1873, but she did not change her name. She had a son the following year, but she did not give up her work. In 1876, she spoke to a congressional committee in Washington, D.C., and she made the eloquent plea for the right of women as citizens to enjoy the same political rights as any other citizen. By 1878, Olympia Brown had a daughter as well as a son. She became a minister at the Universalist Church in Racine, Wisconsin. And in 1884, she became the president of the Wisconsin Women Suffrage Association. And in 1887, she resigned her ministry to work full-time for women's rights. It was now 20 years since she had campaigned in Kansas, but she still had no right to vote. At that time, individual states could grant women the ballot even if Congress refused to. By 1896, some women were voting across America, but only in Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, and Idaho. It was now 30 years since Olympia Brown had campaigned in Kansas, and she still had no right to vote. By 1906, Susan B. Anthony, her good friend and compatriot, died. 60 years of tireless work had not won Susan B. Anthony the ballot. And now it was 40 years since Olympia Brown had campaigned in Kansas, but still, she had no right to vote. In 1913, two young activists named Alice Paul and Lucy Barnes invited Olympia Brown to join them in a new political party called the Congressional Union. The sole purpose of the Congressional Union was to pass an amendment to the Constitution stating that the right of citizens to vote could not be denied because of sex. Olympia joined them at once. 1916, the party changed its name to the Women's Party, and they worked hard trying to defeat President Woodrow Wilson's bid for re-election. He narrowly won the election, and in 1917, the United States entered the war known as World War I. President Wilson called it a war that would, quote, make the world safe for democracy, unquote. Women were told they should not oppose the president while the country was at war. Quote, we cannot say that the United States is a democracy as long as women cannot vote, said Olympia Brown. We are being asked to give up our suffrage work until the war is over. Women were asked to do the same thing during the Civil War. They were told that as soon as the war was over and the slaves freed, they would be given the ballot. But that did not happen. And so they were ridiculed for wanting to vote and still do not have the ballot, unquote. It was now 50 years since Olympia Brown had campaigned in Kansas, and she still did not have the right to vote. When President Wilson went to France at the end of the war, the Women's Party staged a demonstration. When President Wilson returned, he finally gave his support to women's suffrage, and Congress passed the 19th Amendment. On Election Day morning, November 2nd, 1920, Olympia Brown made her way to the polling station. She was one of the very first women to ever cast a vote. It was 53 years since she had campaigned in Kansas, and she had finally won the freedom and right to vote at last.
And now it's time for our children to go downstairs and our youth to join them. And we're going to be doing zines with Miss Amy. And zines actually have a long history of freedom work and underground work to make change. So if you'll join me for the words found in your order of service, and Miss Danny's going to come up, and you can join her up front, and she'll take the chalice down for you. Go with joy, may your way be peace. Joy be yours through all your days. Live and learn to serve the world, and in stance on your way. Go with joy, may your way be peace. Joy be yours through all your days. Live and learn to serve the world, and in stance on our way. Now's our time for our joys and concerns. If you'd like to come forward and share a deep joy or concern, you can come forward and say your name. If you have trouble coming forward, you can raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you, and those online can share in the chat.
I am thankful this week, my 30-year-old nephew who was diagnosed with kidney severe kidney disease at 18, and has been waiting 22 years or 20 years for a kidney almost. Finally got his kidney. And he went from 5% kidney function at Rochester Mayo on Monday to 57% kidney function with his new kidney today. And I just want to mention that he has a very rare blood type, and ultimately Rochester took a kidney from a family member that wasn't ideal, but there simply are no organs available. And Marcus would have died if he had not gotten a kidney from his partner. And so please, all of you, consider kidney donation and organ donation.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hirsch. Two sad things. My sister Patricia has lung cancer and it's getting worse, and they are going to try giving her an extra kind of drug besides the chemo and the radiation to see what happens. She has pneumonia right now. She's recovering from pneumonia right now. And my my co-parent, Jen, when we were in med school, my neighbor Jen and I basically shared children, and she'd take mine, I'd take hers, no questions asked. Can you come get them? Yes. She found out on Thursday, very early Thursday morning, that her ex-husband had passed away from complications due to alcoholism. And she now has a funeral on top of a daughter who's recovering from a stint in the hospital from, she had a heart donation, and she's been dealing with the rejection for 5 years. So Jen's in a bad place. So, prayers.
Good morning. I have a concern and a joy. Concern is also a medical thing. For my brother, the one I lived with in Arizona for last year, just found out that, his white count is way high, and it's highly suspected for the chronic leukemia type of thing. And so he's just beginning the process of what that will mean. I know many others have that ongoing situation, and but when it's when you're first finding out, it's a tough one. So that's my concern. The joy is thanks to everybody, and my house renovations are completely done. And I 4 months of living with that. I'm really happy, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Leland, and I light a candle for my sister of joy because this weekend she served her husband divorce papers. And it's been over a year since she contacted me and said that she was ready to leave her abusive husband. And it's been quite a journey, and I'm so thankful for social services for stepping in and forcing a physical separation from her husband. And just that 9 months of her being away, she was able to regain her mind, and she has a lightness in her step and her voice, and she has freedom back. So I'm praying for the next leg of her journey as she navigates this with her children. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Marcia, and I have two joys. Yesterday was Edwin's second birthday celebration, and it was really fun. It was water party, and it's wonderful to have a neighbor that will step in as a substitute parent, and he helped a lot. And so it's really fun to work with him, and he's even given me a ride sometime. And also, I want to thank everybody that has offered and given me rides to church and to other functions. Not driving is hard for me, and so I'm thankful for everyone that can give me a ride. Thank you.
Online, we have from Trish Kimlick, please let Dean know I'm so happy to see them up and around and healing. So we have a joy for that. We light this final candle for all the joys and concerns too tender to escape the folds of our heart. If you'll please join me for the words found in your order of service. May the joys and concerns spoken today be held in our hearts, and may each person feel the support and nurture of this beloved community.
Our congregation thrives by the contributions that are made by each of you. Thank you for your support of our congregation. The 50/50 Share the Plate recipient for July and August is the Chippewa Valley LGBTQ+ Center. You may contribute on site as the greeters pass the baskets or online by scanning the code to donate. The offering will be given and very gratefully received.
This is called I Won't Give Up by Jason Mraz. When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. There's so much they hold, just like them old stars. I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn, some even fall to the earth. We've got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. But in the end, we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I've got, what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even though the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, I'm still looking up. No, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all I got. God knows we're worth it.
An excerpt from The Long Walk to Freedom, the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. I have walked that long road to freedom, and I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I had discovered that the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended.
So what does freedom look like? Let's start where we are. Being here in this congregation to practice, to not be spoon-fed our beliefs, to not have to recite certain prayers or say certain dogma is freedom. Olympia Brown was a great example of freedom. She got the right for women to vote. For me able to be here in this pulpit is in the legacy of that first Universalist minister, Olympia Brown. Unitarian Universalism has the concept of freedom as encompassing both individual autonomy and communal responsibility. It's not simply freedom from constraint, but also freedom to pursue truth and meaning, to live authentically and contribute to a compassionate world. The freedom is intertwined with responsibility, which people struggle with, saying responsibility, it feels heavy. But right now, it is so important for us to think about what is our freedom? How can we practice it? How can we say it loud, say it proud, And, we're watching Sesame Street go down the toilet drain because we have a government who is afraid of free minds and the educated public. This is a concern for our country, for our world. We have a long history of freedoms trying to be suppressed to have more control over people, control over government, and how can we exercise our freedom? And I think it's showing up for each other. Marcia said, how great it is to have rides, to have that freedom to go places. We can go with each other to Sojourner House. We can go with each other to whatever it is, the concert, the library, supporting what exists and using what exists. And so when we think about the UU context, freedom of belief and thought, Unitarian Universalism emphasized the right to form our own belief. And to do that, we have things like our Building Your Own Theology class. And I've heard people say, what? You build your own theology? You get to think your own thoughts and to figure out what you believe? And for some people, that is overwhelming. You know, it can be too much, and that's okay. But those who find their way into this congregation, one of the key things that we hear in new member classes is, I never knew I could figure out what I wanted to believe, or that I could be in a place who didn't tell me I was wrong for being LGBTQ+, or thinking these thoughts, or not agreeing with everything everybody said, or that anybody could come up in front of this pulpit and speak the truth. It's not just about the minister or the bishop or the pope or whoever, the hungamunga in charge, you know. We're all in charge, and we're in charge of ourselves. We're in charge of our planet, and it's about power. It's about power. People in charge often want to steal people's power. So what does freedom look like? It means becoming comfortable with words like freedom, power, responsibility, community organizing, speaking up. And that looks different for each of us. You know, for some of us, it might be writing a postcard. For some of us, it might be, you know, marching down the street. And it all goes towards the good. You don't have to be a raging activist to be fighting for freedom. It can be as simple as showing up and lighting a joy, lighting a candle of concern. So education supports freedom, and we think about what's going on in the world. And I know for me, I have the freedom to step away from what's going on in the world, and that too is a gift. So freedom also looks like going into my garden and you know, tending my flowers, taking a peaceful time for myself, nurturing my spirit. Freedom also looks like taking up space. And I know a lot of people who might be told, you're too much. You say too much. You think too much. Well, be too much. It's okay. You know, as long as we're loving towards each other, we have a right to talk about what we want to talk about. We can look in our families and think about freedom. You know, sometimes our family systems tell us who we are, where we come from, and what we ought to be. Well, you came from a long line of lawyers, you should be a lawyer. But I want to be a musician. Well, you came from a long line of lawyers. and those tapes can get in our head. Or oh, girls don't do math, but are very good at liberal arts. Well, bump that. I had to learn that I could do math. My spouse sat with me at a Waffle House when I was trying to get my Series 7, and I kept going, I can't figure this out. I can't figure this out. And a lot of it was my own thoughts. My own thoughts were not free because I was believing what I was told, that I wasn't good at math. So people who deal with dyslexia or who had ADHD in school, oh, you're naughty. You're not doing the right thing. You're not doing this thing or the other. But now we have support for that, and we have to fight for that support so that children with learning differences or children that have different identities can have that freedom in school to be themselves, to flourish, to feel their space and their power. So freedom can be lots of things. And I know one of my favorite phrases when I'm in a demonstration is, this is what democracy looks like. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. And it's that joy of being in a space that participates in liberation, you know, and it participates in opening the world rather than shutting it down. And right now, I'm seeing a lot of shutting it down. Stephen Colbert is a comedian who has been highly critical of lots of things, as the late night show has been for many years, and he's taken it, you know, even to the edge of where Johnny Carson did. But recently, his show got shut down by Paramount. Also, Jon Stewart's show got shut down. So when comedians start getting shut down because of what they're saying, or teachers get told that they can't talk about diversity and equity in their classrooms, or we can't have these signs in our classrooms that talk about equality, places like this become radical, which I find ridiculous. You know, we're just trying to have a space where we can think our thoughts, enjoy our freedom, be joyful, do good work, figure ourselves out. Why is that so radical? This is what freedom looks like. It's saying no. No to the power that tells us we can't be who we are. No to the power that says you're not good unless you're straight, white, male, whatever, Protestant. Go have babies in the kitchen, take off your shoes, give up your power. Yay, theocracy. No. No. And you want to say it louder? No. But then we got to say, well, what are we going to say yes to? We're going to say yes to not letting that be a fear on our lives. And that's also freedom. A lot of the noise and chaos and stress is also a tool to take away freedom. Oh no, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And we get down to what can we control? What can we change? What can we be a part of? And I think the freedom to flourish, the freedom to be fully who we are, which means rest, which means joy and singing, celebrating our joys and concerns, and also speaking out for places like this, speaking out for our children. Rebecca Solnit writes, "We are our own stories, stories that can be both prison and the crowbar to break open the door of that prison. We make stories to save ourselves or to trap ourselves or others, stories that lift us up or smash us against the stone wall of our own limits and fears. Liberation is always a part of the storytelling process, breaking stories, breaking silences, making new stories. A free person tells her own story. A valued person lives in a society in which her story has a place." So what is your place? What is your freedom? And like many of you, during the summer, I always reconnect with my family. And this time I went down to see my dad, who unfortunately is having Parkinson's dementia symptoms. And so it was really special to me to sit with him. He gathered photos of myself, my sister, and my brother. And we haven't always had a chance to hear stories from him. He is often quiet and has a very hasn't always had a chance to share his stories. And so when he sat down and showed us the pictures and he said, "This is what I remember of you. You were this, you were that." And it was joyful to hear him. And at the same time, I also thought about our continuing story together. I had put all this stress on seeing him this possibly one last time before he maybe lost his memory of me. And so he was telling me his memories, and I was gathering them up like treasures, you know? And then I thought, our relationship is not about these photographs or about these memories or even this one visit. It's the totality of that relationship. And that gave me freedom. You know, I disentangled myself from that story that this was the last time, that this was what it was all about. It's kind of what I tell couples when I do a wedding for them, is like, it's not about just the wedding. It's all the days thereafter. And so that was its own liberation. And then I also looked at the pictures and I said, who am I as little Julie sitting in Dad's lap or watching him in the pulpit in his Episcopal church, and who am I now? You know, do I have the freedom to claim some of those identities, but also to recognize, you know, I'm 50 years old. I have a right to be who I am. And I think all of us can kind of think about that, you know, oh, you're the youngest. I was always the youngest, never taken quite as seriously. Luckily, as an adult, that changed mostly. But those roles in our family, or those expectations of our gender, our sexuality, our identity, we can claim that power and that story. And hopefully here, we have a place for people to live out and love and be free and explore. I really like this poem by David White. He writes about freedom and sweet darkness. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds, except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. So I want to say that one more time. Listen, anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. That includes our relationships. That includes the messages in the media that say you are not enough, or that Democrats or whoever or all these people are this or that or the other. You don't have to believe the stories. You have the power to write your own story. So what does freedom look like? It means being the author of your own adventure, the author of your own beliefs. You're your own theologian. So in essence, freedom in Unitarian Universalism is an empowering concept, inviting us to go on our personal journey of discovery while simultaneously working together towards a more just and compassionate world. May it be so. And may I rise now? Now we're going to sing Die Gedanken sind frei, which is a fantastic German song that was written as a protest song I'm trying to find the dates. It was a revolutionary song. So if you can please rise in body or spirit, and we'll sing Die Gedanken sind frei. It's number 291.
Give me power, no scholar can map them, no hunter can trap them, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. My thoughts are as free as wind over the ocean, and no one can see. Therefore, more their motion. No hunter
Thank you. Please be seated.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice as found in your program. Go your ways, knowing not the answers to all things, yet seeking always the answer to one more thing than you know.
And one very important thing that you witnessed today is we all have the freedom to make mistakes, right? You don't have to be perfect or anything other than human. So our closing words are from Reverend Laurelyn Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give back to a bruised and hurting world. If you're new and would like to join us after service at 11:30, we're going to have a circle and a new to UU class, and it's going to last about an hour, and we have cookies if that's a motivation. Please go downstairs and grab coffee and enjoy fellowship with one another. Go in peace and go in love, and thank you to all who joined us online.